This is Autoline Daily, the show dedicated to enthusiasts of the global automotive industry. President Trump just made a couple of trade deals that should give automakers some relief. China has agreed to delay export controls on rare earth minerals introduced earlier this month for 1 year. However, the export curbs, which were implemented in April, which caused shortages and led several automakers to halt production, are still in place. The U.S. also reached a trade deal with South Korea to lower car tariffs on Korean imports from 25% to 15%. And that's good news for Hyundai, which said tariffs cost it $1.3 billion in the third quarter. In response to slowing EV demand, General Motors is laying off thousands of workers. The automaker will cut production at its Factory Zero plant in Detroit, which makes its full-size electric pickup trucks. It's switching to a one-shift schedule in January, an output cut of about 50%, and which will result in 1,200 workers being laid off indefinitely. In addition to that, GM is going to idle production at its battery plants in Ohio and Tennessee in January for about 6 months. That will result in 1,550 temporary layoffs. However, an additional 550 employees will be laid off indefinitely at the Ohio battery plant. Car sales were strong in Europe in September. According to the ACEA, the European Automobile Manufacturers Association, automakers sold more than 1.2 million vehicles last month, up nearly 11% compared to a year ago. Hybrids are the largest segment of the market, with nearly 435,000 units sold, up 15%. More than 260,000 fully electric vehicles were sold, a gain of about 22%, and plug-in hybrid sales soared 62% in September. While the electrified segment was strong, ICE vehicle sales struggled. Gas-powered car sales were down nearly 8% to about 303,000 units, and diesel sales were down 15%. This is the third consecutive month sales have increased in Europe, which the ACEA says is somewhat driven by new model launches. Mercedes had a rough third quarter. The automaker sold 441,000 vehicles, down 12% from a year ago, and its revenue came in at 32 billion euros, a drop of 7%. Mercedes EBIT plunged 70% to 750 million euros. But when adjusted for one-off effects like restructuring costs and voluntary layoffs, its EBIT was 2.1 billion, a decline of 17% from last year. And Mercedes' net profit of 1.2 billion euros was a 31% drop. The company blamed the rough quarter on tariffs and the price war and heavy competition in China. Stellantis also reported some more of its third quarter results, and much of its growth is thanks to its turnaround efforts in the U.S. Globally, it sold 1.3 million vehicles, an increase of 13%, and that pushed its net revenue to just over 37 billion euros, which was also up 13%. But it's possible the future might not be so rosy. The company estimates a €1 billion hit from tariffs, as well as one-time charges related to changes around its warranty process and doing things like pulling back on EVs. New CEO Antonio Filosa has made smart moves like bringing back the Hemi, cutting lineup complexity, and working down inventory. But that seems more like some of the easy stuff to do. The hard part is coming up.
At CSP, we work with OEM engineers across the country on their journeys to lighter, safer, and more eco-friendly vehicles. Learn more at thecsp.com.
BMW's new driver assistance system will let you change lanes with your eyes. That's one of the features the new iX3 just received approval for in Germany. Its motorway assistant will operate up to 130 kilometers an hour, or about 80 miles an hour, and drivers can approve lane changes by glancing at either side view mirror. The system will stay active through freeway junctions and all the way to the end of your exit, and it can also suggest lane changes before you come up to those areas, which can be confirmed with a glance at the mirror as well. BMW says the type of approval it received will also allow it to launch these features in many more European countries. The company's City Assistant, which offers hands-free driving in urban areas, will be available when the iX3 goes on sale, but only in Germany at first. Beyond this version of its hands-free driving system, BMW says it's developing a more symbiotic relationship where the driver can turn the wheel or apply the brakes slightly, but the system still stays active. UAW workers at VW's plant in Tennessee voted in favor of a strike authorization. That doesn't mean there will be a strike. It just gives the local union the authority to strike if it wants to. But I think this is at least some reflection of how the workers feel about the contract negotiations, which have dragged on for about a year and a half. The UAW says a supermajority of members voted in favor of the authorization. That means at least 2/3 of the 3,200 workers want their union to have the power to strike. VW doesn't want to see that happen and offered a $1,500 bonus if the contract was approved by tomorrow. But the UAW doesn't think that VW's latest contract provides enough to workers, while VW said it submitted its last, best, and final offer. So that's why we've reached this point today. If there is a strike, workers will receive $500 in weekly strike pay, and medical care will still be covered. That Nexperia chip shortage is starting to impact production around the globe. Honda says it has cut and idled production at some plants in North America. The ACEA, the group that represents European automakers, warned yesterday that automakers in the region will have to halt production in the coming days. Down in Brazil, government officials are warning that automakers will have to stop production in 2 to 3 weeks, and production in the U.S. could be impacted in the next couple of weeks as well. And don't forget to tune in to Autoline After Hours later today. We'll have judges for awards talk about the 10 best propulsion systems. Plus, we'll talk about autonomous vehicles' possible impact on powertrains, and Stellantis' old CEO keeps talking. But should we listen? Join us when the action goes live at 3 p.m. Eastern Time today. Thanks for tuning into today's Autoline Daily, and I hope to see you later.
Autoline Daily is brought to you by Bridgestone, solutions for your journey. CSP, the composites solution partner. Intrepid Control Systems, over-the-air engineering, boost your game. And thanks to the following YouTube and Patreon members.
Performance that shines, even in the rain. That's what really matters. Bridgestone Potenza tires, improved grip in wet conditions.
Developing today's vehicles. Issues can happen in an instant. When's the best time to solve a problem? The minute you know you have one. Meet Wireless NeoVi Cloud, your secure, off-the-shelf solution empowering real-time collaboration for quick resolution. With Wireless NeoVi Cloud, your team can prevent issues before they can escalate. Driver communication data and remote diagnostics to analyze and resolve your problems using OTA, allowing your executives oversight throughout the process. Wireless NeoVi Cloud, your vehicle update solution in production and on the road. Intrepid Control Systems, driven by your data.